I mean, I've been fairly transparent just throughout, at least the last decade of my life, anyway. And this topic, and specifically where we are now in this whole concept, where we just landed. You know, I discovered pornography when I was 9, and for 30 years I was addicted to it, and it cost me every relationship I had in that 30 years, including a couple of marriages. And so, to your point, I only say that to reemphasize or to echo the fact that where these conversations weren't had, and so I did have to go out and find those things. And when I found it, it taught me that sex was about consumption, and it wasn't about giving. It was just about receiving. It wasn't about experiencing. It was just about consuming. And so I say that. I mean, I feel like I got a lot of unhealthy messages, um, through the course of my development, I guess you can say, before my brain was even formed at 25, around this topic. And again, along with that, we didn't talk about it as a culture. I didn't, no one ever had that talk with me, to your point, Jason. And so I just, personally, I learned, my education was taught to me from what ended up being a very kind of destructive, I guess you can say, as opposed to constructive perspective through the course of my life.
I know in my experience, I'm sure Kirk's as well, when you get your education through pornography, it's not necessarily, like you said, accurate or what women really like, or even what would be healthy in the long term. And so you kind of get this miseducation. And then you get to a point where, hopefully, you get to a point where you start to want to re educate yourself and go, well, that's not reality. That's not really working. So, how do we get re educated? So, I think since we're at that break time, when we come back, we're going to talk about how to re educate ourselves from an education on the sexual side from pornography.